Good morning, everybody. We're back. Earl on Cars, and we're here to help you, and you're there to help us. We really appreciate your calls because we learn as much or more from you than I think you learn from this show. So don't be timid. We've got a telephone number here that I'd like you to write down early in the show because you probably don't have a question now. We're going to prioritize the call-ins, and that number is 877 960 9960. 877 960 9960. For about 20 years now, we've been in South Florida, North Palm Beach area, and we've been trying to help you buy a car at retail from a car dealer. And that's a lot easier than it sounds. It is very difficult. We tell you the tricks of the trade. We're car dealers in this studio. We have a car dealership in North Palm Beach, and we have been in the business for a long time. I've been in the business since 1968 as a retail car dealer. So I've been there and I've done that, so to speak. I used to do business the same way the car dealers that are doing business now do business, and I evolved to where I am tonight, which I like to think I'm a transparent, honest guy to give you a fair break and a fair price when I sell a car. So that's another story. If you want to read about it, you can buy my book, Earl on Cars. You can go to Earl on Cars, or you can go to Amazon.com and look up Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. That kind of tells my story about how I got where I am today. So I'm a consumer advocate, and the people in this room, Nancy Stewart, Rick Kearney, Stu Stewart, we're here to help you buy a car without being ripped off by a car dealer. It sounds a little crude, but for you folks out there that maybe aren't aware of it, car dealers have been doing it wrong, retailing it in a very opaque, if that's the opposite of transparent manner, to trick and surprise you with hidden fees, junk fees we call them now, take advantage of you on the financing. So we're basically here to help you avoid that. You could go to our website, that's earloncars.com. You can listen to the show. We have podcasts, we have YouTube. A lot of folks are streaming, and YouTube is the most popular way to stream us, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. We have a huge following there. In fact, Rick Kearney, who is sitting to my right here in the studio, he's our certified diagnostic master technician, and he monitors the YouTube channel. He's gotten to be buddies with a lot of these people, and we all have. We have some regular callers that are outstanding, and they do a lot of research. I thought I did a lot of research, and we all try to prepare for the show each week. But some of these folks out there, especially YouTube, really come up with things I didn't know about, and that goes for everybody. We have some people that could be doing the show in a way. Sometimes I feel like we're preaching to the choir because maybe the people that really need our help aren't listening. And we have a cure for that too. It's called Earl's Vigilantes. And I gave my hat away the other day, so I'll have to get another hat, but we even furnish you with a cap that says Earl's Vigilantes. And if you want to see if there is a vigilante in your area, you go to earloncars.com and you can find a list of all of Earl's Vigilantes. Now, a vigilante isn't, there's a negative slant.
Especially in Florida.
Yeah, it's good vigilantes, yeah. Good vigilantes, we're good vigilantes because we're here to help you locally. So if you're in Missouri or if you're in Pennsylvania and there's not a vigilante near you, it's great to be able to talk to a vigilante who is in your market because he has a lot of local knowledge that you can't get otherwise. So.
We're vigilantes like in the sense of the old Westerns.
Yeah.
Like the town folks need a rebel, someone who is reverent and will protect them.
Yeah, forget about the negative connotation. We're talking about the good vigilantes.
Right.
That's right.
Like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. So, other ways to reach us. I mentioned YouTube, youtube.com/Earl on Cars, Facebook.com. I always thought I was really ahead of the game because I was on Facebook a long time ago, but that's for old folks now. So I still like Facebook, and facebook.com/Earl on Cars. And a text, we can text us directly. Stu, my son Stu, you just heard him a moment ago. He monitors the texts that come in. We have some remarkable texters, just like we have some remarkable YouTubers. That text number is 772-497-6530. That's area code 772-497-6530. We accumulate the text as they come in. I think we might have a phone call. I saw my lovely wife Nancy wave at me. Okay, let's go.
I was sending you loving kisses. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We sure enjoy your company. You are a fantastic part of the show, and we depend on you week in and week out. Our number is 877-960-9960, and our text number is 772-497-6530. Ladies, I have $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And I notice we're getting off to a great start this morning, where we have Sarah and Donna, who are first-time callers. And ladies, let me share this with you. Did you know that women now drive the world economy? I have much more to say about that. I'll add this to it. Most companies have much to learn, about selling to women. They need to get into the 21st century. We're going to go to Sarah, who has won herself $50 this morning from Boca. She is a first-time caller. Good morning, Sarah.
Hello. Thank you for taking
Thank you
call.
for holding. I have $50 for you this morning. If after we're done talking, you'll stay on the line with Jeremy, who's in the control room. He'll take your contact information, and he'll pass it along to me, and I'll send you out that check.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very
What can we
much.
do for you?
Well, what happened to me is I went to a Toyota dealer, and when I first spoke with the maintenance repair shop person, he said that I had a loose radiator belt and that I shouldn't drive the car anymore because it could fall off any moment and I'd be in terrible trouble. And then at the end, he said it was broken. It didn't say it was loose. It was broken. And I thought, well, that's funny. How could I have a broken fan when my car never overheated? I never saw that thing go, the dial go up for heat. I thought if you had a broken fan, wouldn't that go up? I mean, I'm just wondering. So I don't know if I was given a bill of goods or if this is legit.
What type of car is that, Sarah?
Oh, I have an old Avalon, and I mean 2005, I think.
Okay.
2007.
Yeah. First off, somebody's giving you some bad information there. The Avalon has 2 belts on it. One drives the alternator and the AC compressor, the air conditioning. The other one drives the power steering. The fan is actually electrically driven, and it has nothing to do with the cooling system on those belts, because the water pump is driven by the timing belt. And if that timing belt broke, your car wouldn't run. It'd be completely shut down. So, yes, somebody is giving you some very, very bad information, and I would be demanding to see a whole lot more information about what they repaired and why. And if they haven't done anything and haven't spent any money, I would go somewhere else immediately, because somebody's giving you a runaround.
Sarah, did they give you an estimate? We've established that the repair it was not needed, but did they give you an estimate of what, if you had agreed, would they have charged you?
If I agreed to what? Now, I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that.
Did you get an estimate on the fake repair? Because Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician, basically said that can't be that the person had misinformed you. I was just wondering if they had indicated to you how much they were going to charge to fix
Oh, well,
the...
yeah, because they did so-called do it. I'm calling as all my thoughts happened, of course, after I left the place,
Oh.
that I thought it came to me, what in the world? How could my fan, radiator fan, so does the car doesn't have a radiator fan at all?
Well, no, it has, okay, I thought you'd said belt at the beginning. Okay,
No, sir, it's the fan,
yeah, if the fans quit, then that can cause the car to get hot, to overheat. So yeah,
That's what I mean. My car did not overheat. But he was maintaining, and my fan was broken by the end of the story. At the beginning, he said it looked like it was going to be broken.
Oh, going to be broken. Now we're getting closer.
Yeah.
What about that? How would he know that it was going to be broken?
Unless something was really cracked and falling apart.
Or maybe he was going to break it himself.
That sounds a little more likely.
I mean, would you be able to see if the belt was getting old and worn?
Well,
There's no belt.
It wouldn't have anything to do with the belts.
Oh, he just thought because...
Yeah, the fan's up on the radiator, and
He might
that's
have
actually electric.
He might have been just saying because it's a 15-year-old car.
Probably,
Okay.
yeah. Somebody,
this
I
is
think, just
200
upsold you work that you didn't need.
That's what I thought, because
He was predicting
the
the
fan
future.
replacement was $262.88, and then the fan, it says fan ASSY. I guess that's assembly or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's $349.99.
Yeah,
So
that's
that-
about the right price for it.
It's a,
Okay.
Sarah.
Sarah, maybe the moral to the story, or the sad story, is that you get a second opinion, and that's pretty good for whether you talk about medical doctors or auto mechanics, especially when you've got several $100s being charged, and get a second opinion. That's a good message for all
Right.
the listeners out there.
But the clincher was, he said, "Oh, you can't drive. They're not recommending you drive this car.
Yeah.
This could fall off any moment. You'd ruin your motor and you'd ruin your car."
Yeah,
So-
would you care to mention the name of this technician or the company you went to? You don't have to if you feel funny about that, but we name names here on this radio show all the time. If it,
Yeah,
it would act as a warning to others in the area.
It was in Delray, Ed Morse Delray Toyota.
Ed Morse, Del Rey Toyota.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, Sarah.
What a coinky dink.
Yeah, very interesting. And Sarah, let me tell you this: don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for this show that we have today, because we mystery shopped Ed Morse, Delray Toyota. Secondly,
Coincidentally, really.
secondly, Sarah,
It doesn't
you
sound like a coincidence,
you're
folks, but trust me, that's just a
We just- yeah,
a
that's-
Yeah, it
crazy
just happened.
coincidence.
Sarah, you sound like you're pretty knowledgeable. And, this isn't the first time that this happened in service. I have a question for you. Did you take your car in yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's happens often that you're sold things that you don't need, and you're taken advantage of. There's a survey that was recently done, several, but this morning I'm going to mention a survey and a lot of information about the female economy from a reputable site, and that's the Harvard Business Review. But I do have to tell you, if I sound like as if that I'm a little excited and a little aggressive, I am, because there's more women going through service today, more women than men getting their cars serviced. And I tell you, you've really got to do your homework, because it is just, well, it's crazy out there. And if you don't protect yourself with knowledge, you don't have to know how to take an engine apart, but just stay on your toes, because we have not reached the level that we should have reached by now in the 21st century. There's things that are going on now that happened in the 50s. So that, is my advice to you. I would get 3 different opinions. I always do.
Wow. And then what do you do when they tell you, "Oh, you can't drive it. It's going to ruin your car if you don't get this fixed right away"? That should be an alarm to me to just say, well, I
Well,
drove
they're
in
just
here
trying to
all
get
right.
your attention. They want to get your attention.
Sarah, why did you go in to Ed Morris Toyota in the first place? Was it just a routine visit? Why
It
did you?
was. It was the time for I didn't know I needed a new tire, but it was the time. It was the time that they put up there, the miles and the.
Yeah.
It was a general inspection type thing.
Another good message for our audience, and we love calls like yours because your message hits home with a lot of people, and you have an owner's manual for your Avalon, and Toyota, the manufacturer, lists the recommended maintenance for that vehicle. I just double checked with Rick, and this isn't in the owner's manual. So a good rule of thumb for any time you are recommended a repair, and it's not mentioned in the owner's manual anywhere, you should be skeptical. And as Nancy said earlier, get 3 other opinions because it's probably not accurate.
I do want to add one thing though. And if you're at a reputable place or you're not sure, and they say don't drive the car because it's not safe, and you're not sure that they're being straight with you, maybe call somebody and get somebody else who could have a conversation if you're not comfortable. Because if somebody is telling you that you're not safe,
Sure.
you don't want to make that mistake and not listen to them either. So just be careful.
Yeah, it's definitely their way
Now,
of
who
getting
would I
them.
call? Who would I call
Call Earl.
to tell me?
Call
Well,
Earl Stewart.
that's part of what makes it so despicable, is that what Stu said. I guess it depends on your state of mind. I'm one of these people. If I had a car and I'm trying to put myself, and it was running fine, and I took it in just for a routine check, and someone told me that you shouldn't drive this car, leave it here, and we're going to have to fix it, I'd be very skeptical.
Yeah.
I would say I think I'd take the chance to drive it to another mechanic and get a second opinion.
I'd pull out
you.
the Missouri
That's what I
attitude and say, "Show me."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you tell them to take you to your car and show you the part?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And you can take that part and put it in your trunk. You know,
Okay.
there's no messing around here. When you go into service and you get something replaced, a part, you ask them for that part. You want to look at it.
Yeah.
You want to touch it.
Unless
You
it's
want
a
to feel
warranty.
it. You want to put it in your trunk.
Unless it's a warranty job.
Okay.
You know, you
Unless
got to
it's
be.
what?
A warranty job, but don't worry, you don't have a warranty on that 2007.
But she doesn't
Avalon.
care because she doesn't have to pay for it.
And Sarah, let me add to this. You're driving a great car. I don't care if it's a 2007 or not. I drive an Avalon. And if you take care of your Avalon will take care of you. And I believe that you have taken care of your Avalon. But don't be intimidated. Get the opinions, like we all said. And if you would, please give us a call back and let us know how that turned out for you.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay. Collect your
Appreciate
$50. Stay on the line. Talk to Jeremy. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. When I mentioned earlier, about women and how they are driving this world economy, this is just amazing. As a market, women represent an opportunity bigger than China and India combined. They control $20 trillion in consumer spending, and the figure could reach $28 trillion in 5 years. Phenomenal. And for anyone in this business to ignore women, it's a financial disaster. We are going to go to Donna, who also is a first-time caller, and she's calling us from Miami. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning, all. Thank you.
Donna, thank you for calling. You've won yourself $50 this morning, and when we're done talking, please stay on the line and give
Okay.
Jeremy in the control room your information. He'll pass it along to me, and I'll get that check out to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. What can we do for you this morning, Donna?
Well, first, I want to thank you for having this great show supporting women in situations like dealing with the car.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I have a Honda CRV 2021, and I have gotten a message on my dashboard that there's only 15% usage of the oil left. but I don't know why I need to change it if there's still 15% oil. So I wanted to know if I can wait, if it's okay to wait till 10 or 5%.
Yes.
Wow. I was gonna guess no, because 15% seems pretty low to me. But what do I know?
Well, that means that you have, if you're going on a traveling journey, and you've got to drive 100 miles.
Oh, okay. It's not.
And you've gone 85 miles.
It's not like the oil's been depleted down to 50%. You have 50% before you get to your.
It's recommended that in the oil change time that you have 15% of
time
left.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And when it gets closer to zero, when it gets down to about 5% time, that's when you think, okay, now I need to schedule my oil change, go in and get that taken care of.
Drive on.
Right. So, yes, my husband said this. So then I said, well, wouldn't there be residue that would, start getting into the tank?
Yeah. Well, no, because it's not talking about the actual volume of oil remaining. It's just the volume of time.
Right. And the oil filter is going to collect all the dirt and debris from it.
Okay, that sounds great. So, so I'm still waiting, and I just check it by pushing the information button, and it's still on 10% now. So Thank you.
You're welcome, Donna. Thank you for...
I just want to give a shout out to our son-in-law, Eric, for introducing me to your station.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Donna, thank you for calling in and helping me build this platform here for ladies. As you heard earlier, about the female economy, we're a huge part of it. And thank you for voicing your opinion. Have a great day.
Thank you. You all too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Donna. We're going to go to Karen, who's calling, and she's a regular caller from Alabama. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
We're great, thank you. Thank you for calling. What can we do for you this morning?
You could help me to know how to determine where to sell my car. I have an Acura 2012 TSX, and I'm going to fly down to Sarasota on Monday, and I'm going to pick up my car from a place I had driven down on I-75 a few weeks ago and hit something it was pitch black, and I think it was like a piece of furniture or something, so I had to have my car repaired and everything, and so it's all looking all nice and beautiful. I'm thinking when I pick it up, I'll see. And so I have several places that I could take it, and one of them is Stewart, Florida. I have a parking place for it there, and I was wondering if I should drive around with a for sale sign. What's the best way to sell it, and what's the best way to how do I figure? I remember I was going to sell a car before, and I did like some of the places where you can get it valued.
When was
and
that?
You put in your zip code.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Long time ago?
Maybe a year or 2 years ago or something like that, and it seemed like in the Tampa area it was, if I sold it there, that it priced a little higher, and in the and then like in the Palm Beach area it was a little bit lower how it appraised, and so I was thinking that maybe selling it in a certain area might be better than a different area.
That
you
might
could
be
get a better price.
That might be true, but you could market your car to all the areas if you list it online. You can put your car up for sale individually on AutoTrader, but if you want probably a quicker way to do it is you could use a lot of online sources like Carvana or WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Karen, is there a CarMax near you?
I'm sure I could find one.
Yeah, there should be. You're in our area here. There are quite a few CarMax. They're probably the most honest, reliable source, but you should get several. I would not sell my car without getting a bid from CarMax. and you can take it in. They'll give you a bid. It's good for 5 days, and if you want to shop more, you come back and get another bid, which is good for 5 days. They usually give you a fair price, but sometimes it's too low. And Stu mentioned Carvana.com, and there's also Vroom, VROOM.com. You can do WeBuyAnyCar.com. It's a seller's market. I definitely wouldn't put a sign in my car saying this car is for sale. You don't want to deal directly off the street with people that may or may not be serious or honest about buying a car. But stick with a firm that you've heard of, and Vroom, We Buy Any Car, CarMax, Carvana.
And these are big companies. So like what your notion that some markets might get more money, well, they're in all those markets. So CarMax near us, they have an outlet in Alabama that might need that car more, and they'll pay if they need it.
What make car do you have?
It's a 2012
Acura.
Acura TSX.
Yeah, Acura dealers are another good source. I would go to the used car department directly. Be sure you make it clear you don't want to trade the car, that you want to sell it. You have to tell them you just want to get rid of the car, and tell them that you're going to shop it around with other Acura dealers. Go directly to the used car department and say, what would you pay me for my car? I'm going to go to 2 other Acura dealers and get their prices. But you're in the driver's seat. You will get a very good price for your car if you follow our advice, and take your time. I mean, there's very few times in history where it's been a better market for a owner of a car to sell it. You are at the peak of ability to be able to sell a car and get a really good price. So if it takes you a week or 2 weeks, the longer you take, probably the more money you're going to get.
Karen, we're going to wrap this up, but I'm going to leave you with this thought. In my opinion and experience, I've spoken to several ladies, and they've decided to go to Carvana first. There was very little haggling, and they're reputable, and you're in the driver's seat to get the price that you want for that car. So be prepared to negotiate. Negotiating is a fabulous thing, and you end up being the winner.
Well, let me jump in there. The nice thing about doing what you're doing, you don't have to negotiate, because just make it clear to each party, whether it's Carvana, CarMax, or the used car manager at the Acura used car lot, say, give me your best price, because I'm going to shop it. If I get a better price, then I'm going to go there. That takes away the need to have to hassle and haggle and argue. You just get one price from everybody you talk to, and keep on going until you get tired of doing it, and then take the high price and sell the car.
And also,
Okay.
also, Karen, even today, in today's climate, I see signs in ladies' cars. Not only a sign that their car is for sale, but their phone number. And boy, I'll tell you, you're asking for trouble whenever you do something like that. It's a different world today, so be cautious. Karen, thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Oh, thank you very much from everyone here. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Paul, and Paul is our friend from Denver. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Nice to hear from you.
I don't know whether or not you covered it recently, the fact that Congress chose to not pass the very recent FTC proposed rule regulations to protect consumers when they purchase cars. Certain requirements that dealers had to do, processes that they had to revise when selling a car. A lot of it had to do with accurate pricing and how they list and portray all the options that you can buy, and not just physical options, but third party.
Yeah, Paul, you're right about that. I didn't know that happened.
No, the House, that was in their spending bill. That hasn't passed the Congress yet. That's just a House bill that got passed.
Oh,
It hasn't passed the Senate or hasn't been signed into law.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's expected to pass, from what I understand. But where did you get the information that it
It's in
didn't
the
pass?
news. Automotive News ran it today. Automotive News ran it. It's last week, I think it's on the 13th of July. The
I
House.
was talking to Paul.
Oh, sorry.
No, what he said.
Yeah. So, well, I had seen it on an auto forum that I'm on. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't know that they had declined to they voted it down.
Right.
As far as I know, and
I'm just saying that's not a final thing. And it has to pass the both houses of Congress, and they get signed by the president.
Okay. Well, so my thing is, and I'm an older guy, but I came to an awareness of how car dealers generally had done their transactions over many, many decades. But I'm still amazed now with the internet and all the information, free flow of information, how easy it is to learn how to go about buying a car, whether it be used or new, that people don't know how to do it yet. A lot of people don't know. A growing number do, but still so many don't. Because there's nothing in that bill, that proposal, that an educated consumer can protect themselves from, that a dealer would do. That being said, I wanted it to pass. I want it to pass. But still, an educated consumer can certainly read their contracts. If they don't know how to read a contract, bring someone along who can read it. Know your auto credit score, not just your general credit score, before you go. Preferably set up alternative financing, just in case the dealership, isn't going to offer you something better, but know what financing you can get, the cost of financing, if that's the way you're going to go. Don't accept spot deliveries. Don't overbuy what you can't afford. Understand that ahead of time. Know what options exist and whether it be third party or product options on the car. Know ahead of time what you want. Right. I mean, be an educated consumer. Now, I don't like the idea that many dealers will advertise a vehicle and then have a little asterisk next to it for all their extra charges.
Hey, Paul, let me jump in here. Sorry to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
I totally agree, and Stu and I both, all of us here agree with what you're saying. We joke about this a little bit on the show that Earl on Cars is kind of like preaching to the choir. Most of the listeners are like you. They're educated, and they don't need our advice. The people that are actually victimized, and I call them victims, they're the very, very young buyers. They're just maybe the first car. They're 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're the elderly people, especially elderly women, going back to women born in the 40s and 50s when it was a man's world more than it is today, and they never made major transactions. So you take an 80-year-old widow in South Florida, she's fair game for the car dealers, and they take advantage of her. People who's in English-speaking areas where English is not your first language and you're not comfortable with it, they're victims. People that don't have the advantage like you did. I can tell right from listening to you, you're very well educated. A lot of people, dropped out of high school. I mean, there's a whole lot of people out there that are ripe for the picking for car dealers, and they're the ones that get taken advantage of. You go into a Chevrolet dealer and you'll buy a vehicle from that dealer for maybe $1,000 profit or $2,000 profit, and right behind you, a young woman will walk in who never bought a car before, or maybe an elderly woman, a widow, will go in there and they'll pay a $10,000 profit. Car dealers take advantage of those that are not prepared, and that's one of the reasons for this show. How about considering volunteering as a vigilante in Colorado or Denver? Yeah, we need people that we can list on our Earl and Cars blog area and web page, and let people contact you in the Denver area if they'd like advice on how not to be taken advantage of.
Well, I'm not. I'm hearing about the vigilante program for the first time, so I don't know. I mean, I'm comfortable helping people, but I don't know how they would. I don't know how they would contact me in a manner that I'm not. That I'm maintaining my safety.
Sure. Well, go to
I'll
EarlOnCars.com.
I'll go on the website
and check it out.
And read more about it.
Yeah.
One of my concerns is that people. I mean, I've taught my son. He's 20, and because I started late having kids, but and I think the communities themselves, and like these programs that you run, are the way to do it. Government. I mean, they're a stopgap. They're the last ditch effort. I just hate the idea that people are relying on government doing for protecting them from themselves.
Paul, we agree on that, and we've got 3 callers holding right now.
Thank you, Earl. I'll check out that
would you call
program.
back after you check EarlOnCars.com? I'd love to talk to you next week.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
We're going to go to Bob, who's been holding in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How are you today, everyone?
Welcome.
Good. I'd like to start by saying I see Auto Nation is looking to buy cars. They advertise on TV every 5 minutes
Yeah.
that they need cars, Auto Nation. But I wanted to ask you about what you thought about the situation here with this diversion team that was structured by this individual that you always sing his praise. You bought one of his cars. I think it's called a Plaid. And what they did was they set up a clandestine diversion team to siphon off these people that were calling up with their problem of not getting any mileage on the full charge. They were told when they bought the car they were going to get 250 miles on the charge, and they're only getting 150 miles on the car. So they're calling up and saying, there's something wrong with my car. It's not getting the proper mileage on a full charge, and they tried to set up this team to divert all these complaints.
I hadn't heard about that. Thanks for bringing it up. What's your source of information?
It's been all over I saw it on, I think, Reuters and AP. Everybody's got the story.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. If that's accurate from a reliable source, that's certainly despicable and should not be done. But I haven't read it yet. If anybody else has seen that. So you're saying that Tesla was trying to stop people from making legitimate complaints because they said their cars were not getting the charge that it was advertised to get when they bought it?
Well, if they sell you a car and they tell you it goes 250 miles on a charge, one fellow said he tried to go from Colorado to California. He had to stop 12 times to charge his car.
Yeah.
And when he tried to file
I can tell you this from combustion engine cars. It depends on who's driving the car, and I believe the same thing is true with electric vehicles and hybrids. Driving has the ability to maximize mileage is kind of like a skill that you learn, and some people don't have that skill. You mentioned I have a Tesla. I do. With my Tesla right now, it's outside the radio studio, and I have it on something called doggy mode because it's going to be 105 degrees when I walk out of the studio, but when I get into my Tesla, it'll be 72 degrees. But that's using electricity. So I'm probably one of those people that would not get 300 miles for a charge because of the way I use the car. And
if you use the Sentry mode, the security system on it, it also runs down.
Exactly. So whether you're EVs or hybrids or combustion engines, the mileage that you get on a full charge or full tank depends on the driver as much as it does the car, really.
Right. Well, I just thought it was despicable about what they did.
Yeah, I'm going to Google that and see if I can find the source, because when you don't know the source, sometimes you get misinformation. I'm not doubting your word. I'm sure you read it, but unless it's from a reliable source, I'd be skeptical.
It's in Reuters, Los Angeles Times.
Oh.
So it's it's a story.
Okay.
Tesla's secret team to suppress thousands of driving range complaints from Reuters 2 days ago.
Secret teams.
The headline says Tesla's secret team to suppress thousands of driving range complaints. And it's in the Reuters from 2 days ago.
Oh, well, thanks for bringing that up. Reuters is reliable, and I appreciate the heads up on that.
Yeah, and I see there's another ship on fire with 3,000 cars, and I guess it's these lithium batteries. They can't put the fire out. They're working. Boy. Everybody had to abandon ship. I think the car is full of Mercedes and BMWs, so forth and so on. And I think this is going to be a big issue with these lithium batteries. You know, you have that thing on a boat, and one of those things goes off, and they can't put the fire out.
You're gonna cook some whales out there. The solid state batteries, which sound like they're going to be ushered in before the end of this decade, they don't have the same fire issue. So I think hopefully if the industry transitions to that, then that will be a problem of the past. Hopefully.
And I have something for Nancy. There used to be a phrase. They say taking candy from a baby. Well, you know, when a service advisor sees a woman walk in to get her car examined, the first thing they see is the cash register ringing. The same thing with a salesman when they see an elderly couple coming in to buy a car.
Yes.
If you're an older person, this has been going on for a long time.
It's the old Looney Tunes. They see they turn into a ham or a roast beef.
Yeah, I got news for you. As complicated as today's cars are, I could see some guy walking in with PhD on his shirt, and I could still befuddle him so much talking about his car that I could make him spend probably 3 times more than he needed to.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rick.
He does that to me every day.
Yeah,
Right.
Twice on
good
Sundays.
point. But Bob, you're absolutely right, and we're here to change things because if you were listening earlier, you know it's just an amazing time for women, and they rule. They rule the world. They are part of this economy, and they're carrying it. So without us,
I think a lot of women, especially, don't understand that a service advisor works on his numbers. Everything is based on numbers. The higher the number he produces, the more money he makes.
Yeah,
Same thing with the mechanic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
It's all numbers.
Yeah.
So it behooves him to sell you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I hope, and the flip side of that coin, I hope you're wrong. About ladies being easily taken advantage of because there are an awful lot of ladies who are listening to this show, and they sound very knowledgeable. They do, and if they haven't done their homework, they do so after listening to us, and we have changed the platform most definitely. I appreciate your input, Bob. Please give us a call again.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Just a heads up, we won't have a dog this morning.
I'm so disappointed about that.
Yeah, we were having such a ball with that. So you can go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. That is www.bdrr.org. Big Dog Ranch Rescue. And you can take a look at all the dogs that are up for adoption. And you can browse through that beautiful piece of property out there that they have for the dogs. It's like a spa.
Do we have any word on Sully, our sponsored dog from last week, the coonhound?
No,
we haven't heard anything.
Haven't had a report on Sully.
Well, then, if you're going to visit the ranch out there, go out there and ask to see Sully. He was a coonhound. Beautiful, one of the most loving dogs we've had in here.
What a personality. Yeah, definitely. Okay, folks, that number again is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymous feedback. We'd love to hear from you. I think we're going to go over to Stu.
Yeah. I got Anne-Marie's text. Anne-Marie says, good morning. Every week you have Agent Lightning do a mystery shopping report. You've said that you've never been sued because the truth is the perfect defense against libel. But I was wondering, do you ever get any feedback, complaints, or comments from the dealers that you've mystery shopped? Just wondering. Thanks.
Surprisingly, no. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not. I have had people call me. I had the owner of what was the used car?
Off lease only.
Off lease only. I had the owner of off lease only call me, but it was a good conversation, and he was fairly complimentary about the whole issue. Usually, the owners of the dealership are in a situation where I guess they live in la la land. They think, they go out and they say, now we want to be sure you're honest and transparent and don't take advantage of anybody. Then they go to their ski lodge in Aspen and they don't ever check in with the store. So I think a lot of things that go on in car dealerships are, as the previous caller, Bob from Lake Park, said, remember that everybody's on commission. So it's almost
Built in.
automatic
It's
when you
baked
go
in.
into any business, and the person can negotiate the price. And about the only one I can think of now are car dealers. So the salesman has the prerogative, the duty, to get to set the price on the vehicle.
The whole system it's priced by combat,
Yeah.
and it's not very fun.
So if you're going to get 25% of the profit, and you come into a car dealer, the salesman's going to get his 25%, and he can sell it to you for $1,000 profit or a $2,000 profit. Guess which one he's going to sell it to you for? That's
Right.
human nature. I blame the system. I blame the owner of the dealership that allows that to happen. You can pay a salesman a lot of ways. You can pay him on customer satisfaction. You can pay him on volume. If he sells a lot of cars, he makes more money. If he sells fewer cars, but the price should be set by you,
Right.
the owner of the dealership, and that price should be firm. It should be the best price that you're willing to sell the car to, whether it's the President of the United States or whether it's your worst enemy. Whoever comes in should be able to buy the same car at the same price. And if you're smart, it'll be a good price because otherwise you won't sell enough cars.
And another reason that I think that we don't hear from dealers or get complaints from them is just it's what I wouldn't if there was a gadfly in my market like us that was exposing the stuff. I think I wouldn't want to give that person oxygen. I think you don't want to do that. And also, as far as a lawsuit goes, and we've talked about this before, if you sue somebody, then there's a process that you go through called discovery, where you're gathering evidence to support the case, and it goes both ways. But I don't think a dealership like, say,
There's
Napleton.
publicity too. I mean,
Publicity, yeah, you don't want that in the newspaper, online, and you don't want documents coming out of your office being made public.
I've said to myself since the show began, because the very first time we were on the air, it was very scary for the radio station owner and for us, and because we thought we were going to be sued, because we knew what we were going to do. And so I've always said that if I am sued by a car dealer, I will insist on a trial by jury, and the publicity from a trial by jury open to the public would be just for whoever lost that trial. If it were me or if it were the dealer that sued me, it would be pretty serious. So I think that's the other reason they don't raise a lot of problems. We have some callers. I'm sorry. I'll shut up and turn it over to Nancy.
Thank you. We are going to be speaking to Nick, and he's calling from Boston. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Hi, Nancy, Earl, and Stu. How have you all been?
Great.
Rick, of course.
Nice to
Hey,
hear from you.
thank you. Listen, have you been following the whiplash with General Motors going back and forth, how they had said they were going to discontinue the Bolt just
Right, yes.
about a quarter ago, and
It's
then
back
now
on.
at this earnings call, they're all of a sudden saying,
got
oh,
one.
no, that they're going to transition it over to the Ultium, the new battery platform, and I don't know. I just find it funny that they're going back and forth, and
Well, they're second in volume to Tesla. They're the Bolt is the Tesla Y, and I think the Tesla S is number one, or one of the two Tesla models are 1 and 2 in EV sales, and number 3 in EV sales is the Chevy Bolt.
I read that they were looking
Right.
at focusing on their electric trucks, and that's where the
Market
change
it.
of heart. Yeah, they decided that wasn't because I think the Bolt was selling well, like you said. But,
Very well.
yeah.
But anyway, I just like know that it sounded like they kind of their party line was, well, if we can have like the Equinox at
Yeah.
what was it, 30K, approximately net, assuming that assumes the buyer qualifies for the 7,500 from the Inflation Reduction Act,
Yeah.
the tax credit. Anyway, I just find it interesting that, I don't know if it's just that the calculus around the Inflation Reduction Act, or that they had maybe made.
With that, and also their new proposed EPA rules, right now I think it's 50 by 2025. I think it's going up to 58 by 2032 with using a incremental formula over the rest of the decade. So the calculus they're looking at, like, well, we sell a lot of trucks. Let's get our gas trucks off the road, and let's put it into, we have these, the electric Silverado and the electric Sierra, and or we can put it into a smaller car that we're selling a lot of. I don't, it's probably pretty complex on their side.
Yeah, and just a couple more things on the Bolt and GM specifically. I found it interesting that Mary Barra had publicly said that, I guess it's not earth-shattering, but I guess I just had never thought of it this way, that apparently it's a huge source of conquest of them getting new people to Chevy.
Well, that's what
that
she
they
said.
realize they can't abandon that pipeline.
She said she wanted to keep the momentum going. So it makes sense if you got a hot product that's selling a lot to shut it down. I think maybe she's imagining the regret she would have a year from now after
I
stopping.
think there's another very interesting thing that General Motors has just done. They are going to introduce their autonomous car without having to have your hands on the steering wheel.
A real one.
And they won't, they won't have they will, you can drive their autonomous car. Tesla requires that you keep your hands on the wheel, or else they'll take away the self-driving privilege. GM's going all in and saying you can drive ours in autonomous, and I guess, I don't know what they expect you to do with your hands, but they don't have to be on the steering wheel.
They provide reading material.
Well, Earl, I have a Lyric with hands-free Super Cruise. Now, that's only on interstates and limited access highways, but are you talking the Ultra Cruise, the next gen that does city driving too? Because the Super Cruise is out, and I think they're on the third generation of Super Cruise, I want to say, because the first gen wouldn't do the lane changes, but my new Lyric has has Super Cruise.
And is it hooked to the navigation? Like it just goes through, kind of like enter the highway on an entrance and exit and all that, change lanes?
Yeah, it's geo-fenced. It doesn't do the entrance and the exits, but it will do lane changes, with your blinker, or then auto lane change, like if you're behind a slow-moving vehicle.
Super
I've had
Cruise is the new
great
thing.
use with it.
Super Cruise is the newest self-driving for GM.
It's the I believe they're on their second or possibly their third iteration of it.
Okay.
I think it debuted in 2017 on
Right.
the CT6, and then I think that same original iteration of it is on the Bolt today, the premier one. But then the Cadillac, the Lyric, and I think the Hummer EV, and just the other stuff that they have also on the ICE portfolio is on the second or the third generation. I believe some of the trucks and maybe certainly the Escalade has a special trailering assisted capable Super Cruise.
It's similar with other manufacturers. Like we're familiar with Toyota. Lane Trace Assist is their version, and they keep incrementally. Each year comes out. I think it's more responsible what the mainstream manufacturers have done and described it, marketed it as exactly what it is instead of as a self-driving feature. But it's really cool to hear all the things that GM's doing, because it's a window into the other side. We see Toyota's technology advances much faster, and we see more of it.
And I feel bad if I interrupted Earl. I'm sorry, Earl.
Earl hates it.
You said that, and I was like, I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
he just got up and walked out and slammed the door. No, I'm just kidding. He's right here.
I just kind of shocked me when General Motors said that, because I've had some close calls in my Tesla, and I'm glad I had my hands on the steering wheel. But there's no way I would get into a car, even if the manufacturer claimed I didn't have to have my hands on the wheel. I'd want them on the wheel.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when I got mine, earlier this year, they were much harder, to get and more limited availability because of issues that they were having out of, I think it's Spring Hill, Tennessee, that they're produced. But, apparently they now have them on the ground. Now, whether they're trying to charge market adjustments and, all kinds of things, right, that's probably another story altogether. But I mean, I think things are kind of thawing, and if you want the car, I think you can get one.
Yeah.
So you might be interested as a Tesla driver to go and
Absolutely.
We got some customers. We got some listeners holding. So thanks very much for the call.
Mary Barra has done a phenomenal job with affordability, with range, with technology. She has done an amazing job. I think she's been in that
She was
position
just
since.
inducted to the Hall of Fame, also.
Yes,
anyway,
absolutely. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Nick, have a wonderful weekend. It was
Thank
nice
you.
chatting with you. Our number is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Now back to Stu.
All right, what do we got waiting over here? Oh, that's right. We had anonymous feedback that I wanted to get to, and it kicked me out. So I'm just going to talk. I'm logging in to anonymous feedback right now. It just takes a second. All right. Anonymous feedback. Okay, this came in a couple of days ago. Agent Lightning acted as an entitled prima donna to show up at Champion Porsche right at closing time and expect service. Any customer is wrong to show up at closing and expect to be waited on. I think it was a very low-class move.
I read that, and I rarely get angry at a posting, but the mentality of whoever wrote that, it sounds to me like a car dealer. And
a luxury car dealer, maybe. How dare you?
But how could you possibly chastise a customer for going to a retail establishment too close to closing time? I mean, you said the seller sets the closing time, and to me, open for business means open for business. So
he's either the owner of the Porsche dealership or part of the cleaning crew who wanted to get in there right away.
So I think that's the reason we have the anonymous feedback, so somebody can say something really stupid, and we can't find out who you are, but we'll read it, but we'll disagree with it. But is there anybody else out there that thinks that if a retail establishment closes at 9 p.m., you should not be able to get there, within 15 minutes? You should probably get there an hour early. If you can't get there by 8 p.m., just don't go in.
For me, it's the only thing it has I put a judgment call into it is at a restaurant. I don't show up at a restaurant at the moment of closing, but within a half hour.
That's because you've learned from experience. But right. I say the restaurant that says we're open till 9 o'clock, you should rethink it. I mean, you need to change your hours if you can't.
You should say seating until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I had a restaurant do that to Nancy and me a few years ago in Tequesta, and really got us angry. And it was 15 or 20 minutes before closing, and they said, "I'm sorry, the kitchen is already closed."
Yeah, but if they had said, "We seat until 9 o'clock," you would have gotten there, and everything would have been fine.
Then advertise exactly what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do here.
Yeah.
We have a call. We have 3 callers.
Yes. We're going to go to Marty, one of our favorite callers from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning.
Marty, I'm walking out.
Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to hear from you, Marty.
What I have to say is, first of all, and maybe Stu will agree with me or not, used car prices are dropping like a rock, and new car prices are not. So now when I go on, let's say, kbb.com, I get a price for my car, and then if you go to a dealer, they're even giving you a lower price. So a dealer said to me, "Oh, well, you're asking retail for your car." I said, "Well, not only are you asking retail, You're asking retail plus. So I said, there's no reason why I shouldn't get retail for my used car. So we had a little bit of an argument. Obviously, I didn't buy the car anyways. But what do you think as far as buying a car today? And you're telling these, I understand you're telling people shop your car. Today, they're going to get $5,000 to $10,000 less for their used car than they would a year ago.
Mark, I don't believe that. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen with a given trade or purchase, but used car prices are going down, but they're going down like a feather, not like a rock. And we're below, our prices on used cars now are below what they were a year ago, but a year ago they were sky high, and the year before that they were high. So picture a curve where 4 years ago used car prices were average, and they begin to climb 3 years ago, or then 2 years, and then 3 years, and we're in the fourth year now, and they're coming down slowly. So if you leased a car, let's say 3 years ago, the estimated residual value, which would be your purchase option price, was considerably lower. And if you still have that car today, that estimated residual value purchase option price is extremely low compared to today's market price. You should still exercise that right to buy the car on a lease car. But it isn't as good a deal as if you had exercised it 6 months ago. So you're right, prices are coming down, but not like a rock, like a feather.
Okay, well, obviously you know more about cars than me. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, until they start discounting used cars, new cars again, I think it's not good to buy a car at this point in time, unless obviously you need a car. I mean,
a new car or a used car?
A new car.
A new car. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, if you have patience and you have a good car that you can reliably drive, I totally agree with you. The new car prices, Mark, might never go back to where they were. I think the manufacturers and the dealers have had a taste of prosperity unparalleled in their careers. The car dealers are getting filthy rich. The manufacturers are getting filthy rich, making a ton of money. And they don't want to go back to the days where intense competition caused them to slash prices. So I think the manufacturers will try to stabilize production and distribution of vehicles to maintain a reasonable price level. Competition will still be there, but it will not be insane competition like it was 5 years ago. So yeah, if you can wait another couple of years, you will get a lower price on a car than you do today, new car or used car.
Yeah, now our friend Ed Morris, who has your back, he's still adding $4,000 to a new car MSRP.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for the mystery shopping report, because that reinforces exactly what you said. But add 2,000.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he got worse.
Yeah, Ed's got your back.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Hey, Marty, it was great talking to you.
Okay.
That mystery shop is going to be from Ed Morse, Delray Toyota, so you want to stay tuned for that.
All right, I'm going to listen, no doubt about it.
Okay, thank you. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Doug in Boca. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great.
Hey,
Good
Doug.
morning, Sam.
So, anyhow, Sim took our car in to see what could we do, because we can't lease it anymore. We leased it for 60 months, even though it was a 36, and they kept renewing the lease until finally, it's been 5 years for a 2018 car. So they were really interested in buying this car, and they offered us 14, and obviously there's equity in it, and this and that. And then they said, oh, we'll give you a new Accord, same price that you had before, no money down, and 2 years of free maintenance, oil changes, and all that. So Sim wanted to do it, and I said, hold on a second. And so I decided, well, maybe we should just buy the car because the buyout is really low.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 11.2. That seems like it's pretty low. And then I just did one more test. Of course, Delray Honda has been calling me since yesterday. When are you coming in? Are you going to do it? We have someone else that wants the Accord. I go, yeah, sure. Okay.
Really?
So I went to CarMax, and they offered me $19,800.
There you go.
And I said, great. And they said, we want to buy it, but we can't. I go, what?
They can't get a payoff.
Yeah, we can't do that because Honda will not let us do that. So why don't you buy the car, and then you'll have to wait 30 days, and we'll buy it from you. Here's the quote we're giving you, but,
it
could go down.
Days.
Yeah, it's going to change, but it's still not going to change enough that I won't be able to do this. So that's probably
it's not going to change. It's not going to go down to the 14,000 probably. But we are in a declining used car market right now. It's getting very depressing for us, and so it's definitely going to go down. I mean, it's been topsy turvy. Even earlier this year, it had gone down, went back up, but currently we're declining in prices.
But the new cars are not. In fact, they were funny because on the Accord they didn't.
They are. They just haven't followed. Used cars started declining before that. New cars have declined, but it's not even across all the manufacturers.
Yeah, but some of the specialty cars, like the one that I want, those are not declining.
Hey, Doug, thanks for calling the show.
Thank you.
We have some calls that are backed up, and we're going to have to run.
Have a good day. Alice says hi.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, we have our mystery shopping report coming up, and Agent Lightning did another fabulous job at Ed Moore's Delray Toyota. We're going to go to John in Palm City. For you others that are holding, I'll be right with you. Good morning, John.
Good morning. If this will help the woman that'll call earlier, my friend in New York is going through the same exact thing on a 2019 Honda CR-V 1.5 engine. He's due for a state inspection, and he goes to an independent guy, and they won't pass it because the computer is completely screwed up, and he has an appointment only for next week. He has to go to Honda. Every time he presses the button, he gets a different reading on the oil. He gets reading on the temperature. It's completely messed up, and they won't inspect it for state inspection until this problem is solved. And he knows it's not low on oil because the guy just changed his oil 2 weeks ago in it. So it's a major problem with the computer. And I want to just say also, he received a recall notice dating June 2023 from Honda on that car, 2017 to 2022. They're extending the compressor shaft oil seal. It's usually 3 years warranty on the car. It's being extended from 3 years to 10 years with no mileage limit. And they will replace that compressor shaft seal at no charge. And if anybody has any problems, they can call 888-234-2138 at Honda. But they have such a problem with this air conditioning compressor, it's called a compressor shaft oil seal, that they will replace it up to 10 years at no charge whatsoever.
John, please give that number out again so anyone interested, they'll have time to write it down.
Okay, it's 888-234-2138. That's their Honda headquarters in Torrance, California.
Thanks, John.
But what it is it's got to be a major problem that they're extending something from the regular 3 years up to 10 years with no mileage limit. He's got a 2019 with 47,000 miles, but his mechanic, private mechanic, cannot fix this computer, whatever the problem is. And it's like the woman is going through now. Every time he goes to a reading, particularly with the oil, it shows a different reading, but his mechanic knows that it's not the oil because he just changed the oil 2 weeks ago. So if that'll help or any people with a Honda CRV, it's important information.
Thank you, John.
Definitely is, John. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Have a
I'm
great
looking
weekend.
forward to the shopping report because it's getting worse with a dealer that does not attach an MSRP to cars.
Absolutely.
That's highly illegal.
I just don't
and
understand
it
what's
seems to be
happening.
getting worse, right?
It's like everything is a line to like deliver us. The Agent Lightning had texted me earlier this week, said, any ideas for this week? And I said, I don't know. I just said Ed Morris, Delray Toyota, perhaps. She goes, sounds great. And there we go. Now it's
What a coincidence. The
Well,
stars are
thank you,
lining
people,
up.
for exposing these people. It's terrible.
whacked by Morse.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks so much, John.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. As John said earlier, the Honda headquarters, you can give them a call at 888-234-2138. Great number if you're looking to speak to somebody out there at the Honda headquarters. We're going to go to Jersey Mike. Hi, Jersey Mike.
How you doing there? I want to again compliment the North Lake dealership because I had that 2018 that I bought with 12,000 miles on it. I gave it to my daughter as a wedding present at 38,000 miles, and it never ever broke down. I never put anything into it, and the air conditioning was so strong you could never put it all the way up because you get frostbite on your face. You know, it was just really an amazing car, and I got the Carfax there. And everything was legit. I mean, it was really, and this was like, years ago. I bought the 2018, and I gave it to her, a couple of years later, and when it had 38,000 miles on it. So I was really grateful for that.
Great
what
story.
What I want to ask you about is, I got a 2014 Cadillac AST. The car is abominable. I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, they don't make Cadillacs like they used to. I used to buy a new Cadillac every 3 years because in my business, I put 190,000 miles on it 3 years. I had to turn them in and get a new one. That's way back before I retired. In any case, do they make an Escalade that's used, that's at least decent, that maybe might be a 2020 or a 2021 or a 2019? And would that be a very expensive car? And I can just call Bremen Cadillac and find out. But
Mike,
do you have a feeling for that?
The quality of Cadillac, interestingly, has gone up amazingly. I mean, the Cadillac kind of let itself go a few years back, but they've moved into the top 10 in terms of product now, as far as the surveys go, in terms of the reports on quality. But 10 years ago, Cadillac is a car I wouldn't recommend today. I think I don't know by model, but I checked Consumer Report, and I think you can find a really good quality Cadillac by checking with Consumer Reports. But
You're right, because I used to subscribe years ago. I subscribed to that, and I'll tell you, refrigerator, anything you want, that's the best place to go look.
Yeah,
really.
We agree.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And by the way, this car right now, as of yesterday, the front race locked up, and I burned the pads off. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And by the way, I didn't get out of my driveway. Out of my street. My house is like 12 houses down from Military Trail here in West Palm Beach, and I did not get to the end of the street.
Find somebody that you really don't like and sell that car to them.
Yeah, you got a good idea, man. Well, I'm going to try. Let me ask you this here. I'm going to try putting some oil. I don't know how much pad is left because you can't really quite feel in there like you used to be able to, like you used to be able to see, so to speak. So I can't tell you how much pad is left, but it was really smoking and burning. So I might have taken it all off. I may not. I figure maybe try a little oil on it and see if maybe it frees up enough so I can drive the car there instead of having to have it towed. This will be the 4th time I've had that car towed.
Oh boy! Wow.
Amazing.
The first time was the cooling system went kaput.
Yeah.
They had to put a whole radiator in it.
You can
And
leave
I'm
it out
gonna
on
tell
the
you
street with
dealer
the
that
keys
bought
in
it
it.
from. I bought it from the dealer that's at the end of North Lake Boulevard. They say Mapleton. They say they're the biggest dealer in all of Florida. And I know I say to that, I say, you do. If you go there, you've got rocks in your head.
I like that. Okay, Jersey Mike,
Hey,
thanks for the phone
taking
call.
the call. Appreciate it.
Stay
Bye.
tuned for that mystery shopping report from Ed Morris in Delray Toyota. We're going to go to Kyle, who's been holding from Lake Worth. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing?
Hey, Kyle.
I can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. I just had a question. I have a RAV4 hybrid that I bought from your dealer, and I love your guys' dealer. My wife had a little fender bender in it a couple weeks ago, and we brought it in to your collision shop. And he told me it's about a 2 or 3 week job, but they're trying to find a couple parts right now. We didn't have rental car coverage on our insurance, unfortunately. But I was wondering if it's kind of a unique situation, but I didn't know if you guys ever took a car that has damage in as a trade. Like if I need the car sooner than when they're able to fix it.
Yes.
Yeah. And how that would work.
Yeah, there's the amount of the damage would be factored into the appraisal, because I don't know what the amount needed to repair the car, but if it was $2,000 or $1,000, that would just be worked into the appraisal, because the car would eventually need it to be
that's
sold.
common. That's commonly done.
Yeah, it's nothing unusual there. Yeah.
I usually work with Leo as a salesman if he was able to find a new car, so that trade would it'd be like a normal trade-in, because the insurance company already checked Earl Stewart, so Earl Stewart Toyota.
So yeah, it's very easy and very routine. So yeah, just give her a call.
And do you know, so with the trade-in value, is it the lower amount that would be applied to the?
It would be because there's a repair and an insurance claim, and that's going to be on record. It would have to be considered.
Yeah, when we trade that car in, and it's on the Carfax report. So anybody, and we advise everyone, never buy a car without checking the Carfax report. Carfax report will show the damage, the amount of damage, and the fact that it was repaired, and that, of course, negatively affects the value of the car.
Yeah.
Okay, and Stu, I sent you a text. I just had a question about what are the current wait times for Corolla Crosses and Corolla Hybrids?
Oh, I was just texting you and saying that we have a lot of callers, and saying I didn't know if I was going to get to you, so I was answering you here. Corolla Cross and both the Corolla Cross and the hybrid sedan, it's about a 6 to 9 month wait, so it's not as bad as some of the other wait times that you heard about. And also to answer your question, we do still have over 1,000 cars on order that haven't been filled yet, and we are adding more every day. And the cancellation, we're always looking for a rise in the cancellation rate, and also the evidence of real competitive offers, so we can control how we're going to price them and how fast we can fill the orders. But the cancellation rate has been steady, right around 25% monthly. So we haven't seen this, so we still have the orders. Those big dealerships like Al Hendrickson in Hollywood, I'm sorry, to the listeners, you don't know what the question is. The question is, these big dealerships like Al Hendrickson, Hollywood Toyota, that are selling cars with Toyotas with big markups, $5,000, $7,000 markups, they don't always get the full $7,000. When somebody comes in, they'll go through the usual grind and back and forth, and they will sell it for less. And then at the end of the month, when they have vehicles, they have a variety of means to what we call zeroing out inventory. They can sell them to fleet accounts like rental companies, to themselves. They'll even blow them out to customers on the last day of the month that they call to get back in. So no, it's not hurting them. They're earning just as many cars, and so they've figured out a way to manipulate the system.
Yeah, I know you guys are doing Ed Morse pretty soon, so I'll let you go soon. But Al Hendrickson, I drove someone down to Coconut Creek, and I popped in there. They got a couple hundred new cars in the back lot, which used to be empty.
Yeah.
And they switched every single market adjustment to $5,000 plus $2,000 package. And on some cars like the Prius, it's $10,000 markup.
Right, yeah.
By the way, that's Larry Morgan Toyota. Now they're still using Al's name, but Larry Morgan bought that out.
Is it closed now? Is it now operating under Morgan?
No, they don't change the names.
I'm saying, but they closed the deal.
It's a done deal, yeah.
So now it's operating under John
Larry
Morgan.
Morgan, yeah.
John Morgan. All right.
Well, have a good day, guys. Thanks for your help.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Kyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know that Earl's been writing a column for over 20 years, and he's in the Hometown News and the Florida Weekly. The latest column is The Nature of the Beast, Why Car Dealers Deceive You. Take a look and take a read, and there you go. There's all the graphics. It's a little scary.
Actually, it's the column is interesting, I think, because it actually defends car dealers to some extent. I remove some of the guilt from the backs of car dealers as to why they're taking advantage of you, and explain that they were forced into that position because of the manufacturers. The manufacturers are perceived as the good guys, but really they're the ones that created the problem with the retail way cars are retailed today. And interesting read in Florida Weekly.
Earl, Donovan happened to come in with something that fits perfectly into that. He says Tesla is going to open its first store and delivery center in Connecticut, a state that bans direct sales. They're going to open it at the Mohegan Indian Reservation. Bradley Hoffman of the Hoffman Auto Group is not happy about it at all. He says Tesla is breaking the law and is mad that Tesla consumers won't have dealership support. This is not the first time Tesla has opened on a reservation. It seems like a very smart way to get around dealer franchise laws in some states.
Yeah. What's going to happen? It's just
almost every state.
It's going to happen sooner or later. So car dealers, in their hearts, the manufacturers, we all know that the franchise system is dead. It's just a question of how long it's going to take to get the body out of the room.
You head down the Hard Rock and drive off in a new Tesla.
I love it, Indian Reservation.
And a quick note here from Kyle in Pennsylvania. He says, with Carvana, CarMax, and other YouTubers like Zach and Ray, it doesn't seem like the used car prices are coming down like a feather. It's much faster.
Well, it depends on the feather, I guess. But, I mean, relatively speaking, they're still way higher than they were 3 years ago. Used car prices are much higher today than they were three years ago.
Yeah, the way that it should be. I mean, they might have come down, but...
No, I'm not talking about,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the equivalent year model.
Yeah, I'm saying the way the values have gone over the last few years has been caca.
And Johnny Fradley just came in and said, $100 casino credit with every Tesla sale.
Ooh, that'll get him in the door.
We're going to go back to the phones, and we are going to talk to our favorite caller, Roadrunner Steve in Boynton. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, Steve.
We're good.
Good. Okay, you brought up the subject of Carfax. Not everything is on a Carfax list, as you quite know.
Yes.
Because if you have a minor accident with only a few $100, it's not going to be reported to the insurance company to get on a Carfax.
That is true.
With that.
But who cares about that?
And sometimes they miss big repairs, too. We had a very embarrassing incident at our dealership. We sold a car, and it had been repaired by us, and it was covered by insurance, and there was no mention of it on the Carfax report. So everything falls through the cracks every now and then. You should always get your car checked by a good technician as to whether or not it's been in an accident.
Not only that, Roadrunner Steve, even new cars get damaged even before they arrive at the dealerships, and they are repaired by the manufacturer before they get there, and it's not disclosed. Unless it's a major thing.
Yes. The reason I brought that up, a friend of mine went to buy a car. He looked at the Carfax. Oh, this car is great. So I took a walk around the car because I have a car check sheet with me that I got from my Mopar Power Club that I was in New York. It had a list of like 50 things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking around. I'm looking at my car list. What word do I see but overspray?
Yeah, orange peel.
So I'm looking at the car, and guess what I see? Overspray.
Yeah.
So I nudged my friend with my elbow, and I shook my head.
Yeah.
So he goes, "What's up?" I said, "The car's in an accident."
Yeah.
How do you know that? The Carfax says no accident.
You can see
Look
it.
at the overspray. Look at the overspray. So the dealer's talking to him. My friend takes out his phone. He goes, "Oh, that's my wife. I got to go home. I got an emergency."
Now, Steve, Carfax isn't the only game in town. AutoCheck, if you want to make a note of that, AutoCheck is a competitor with Carfax, and sometimes you'll see accidents on AutoCheck that aren't on Carfax and vice versa.
That's true.
True. And speaking of used auto, not used, but new auto parts, it cost me $14 for an air filter for my Plymouth.
Is that good or bad?
I used to pay $3 or $4 for an air filter.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
All right, everybody have a good, safe day.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
It's great hearing from you, Roadrunner.
You know, do we have another caller waiting?
We do not.
Okay, we do not. I was going to say that incident where we had a car that was repaired by the manufacturer, and I learned it when I was younger and you know, kind of greener in the business as used car manager, and it was a heated situation with a customer that was trading in a car, and I had a paint meter that can measure the thickness of the paint, and somebody's breaking through the ceiling. There's workers outside in the other across the hall. Anyway, they swore up and down there was never an accident, and this is how we came up with the concept: if the customer believes they're right, and they did. We took care of them, but we could not figure out what happened until eventually, through some investigation, we found out that there had been a poor repair.
There's state laws on that in Florida that any damage greater than 1% of MSRP would have to be disclosed to the customer. But as Stu says, by the time the trains, planes, and automobiles, by the time a car gets to a dealer, there's a lot of reasons that it could have been some damage. And check with your state law as to what has to be disclosed. It may be, 1% of a $50,000 car is a few bucks.
Yeah.
So it's more than a scratch. So if you're going to do that, have someone inspect the car if you want to be extra careful.
Speaking of MSRP, I'm going to throw a curveball at you right here because you triggered a thought. Toyota and also what we're told is other manufacturers, and I don't know how this relates to the Monroney Act, but is the changing the name of MSRP to TSRP, Total Suggested Retail Price. And they've renamed the various. It doesn't necessarily change the value of things. It does not obviously include dealer installed options. It's all manufacturer and distributor. But all the terminology, folks, I don't know if you heard that, but that sounds like a saw is about to come through into our studio. Anyway, the name is changing from MSRP to TSRP, Total Suggested Retail Price. And I'll get more information on that for next week's show, and I'm sure you'll probably have some questions from Toyota. Because I don't know if that's a...
Rick, can you go out there and find out who the moron is with the drill?
Well, he's a guy working. He doesn't know there's a radio show in here. We should put a sign outside that says live on the air. But like I said, I don't know if it's a federal change in federal law because MSRP is a federally mandated term, and it's also the sticker that's got to go on the car.
Yeah. Where is this in the...
Oh, this was, we had a presentation from our Toyota rep, Brock.
TSRP.
I also got an email about it recently. You probably got
it's really kind of stupid, don't you think?
It is. I don't know what the meaning is. I was a little suspect. I said, does this allow dealers to get around, MSRP and put their own equipment on it? He says, no, it excludes all that. So I said, okay, good. But I don't know what prompted this. What is the impetus?
Wait a minute. You talk about Southeast Toyota.
I don't know if it's Southeast Toyota or TM&A. To me,
because what we got here is we got a distributorship.
I think it is TM&A. I think it's coming from National Toyota because it's going to be listed on the whole Monroney label. Southeast Toyota attaches the right side to it, so it's a Toyota thing.
Yeah, very good. I think Rick stopped the drilling.
If he comes back with blood on his hands, I'm going to be very, very upset. It was unnecessary to go out there and choose violence.
Nancy?
We do not.
We don't, but I have a anonymous feedback here. It says, I disagree with Earl's assessment. I think GM is holding back on car manufacturing.
Say again?
He says, I disagree with Earl's assessment. I think that GM is holding back on car manufacturing.
Yeah, I mean, we all have these theories. I think General Motors and Ford and Toyota, the rest of them, they're awfully big targets. And the consequences for there's some antitrust laws and some price fixing laws. There's a lot of very, very strong laws that could just take a corporation and bankrupt
Right.
them.
And I
So
mentioned
I just
this-
don't think they would take that chance to withhold production deliberately to raise.
There's so many in a conspiracy. There's so many tendrils and
Yeah.
things. And just going over to
Thank you,
Toyota,
Rick.
we had the same question about Toyota, like conspiring to hold back production. There's so many communications that are would be used in a huge lawsuit by dealers and consumers. It's you know what I'm saying, there's normal people acting on information. No one is
And plus the fact, I think one thing in capitalism, everybody wants to be big and the biggest and dominate, almost everybody. And so therefore, the competition, it's your best friend. The listeners to this show, I say it over and over again, competition is your best friend. What happened with competition with auto manufacturers and with dealers is it got so intense. In order to survive, the dealer franchise system, which are it's engraved in stone. The dealers can't be fired, they can't be dismissed, and you have too many dealers, and really too many manufacturers, and too many vehicles, and therefore, the only way dealers could sell would be to lie, cheat, and steal, and that's where we are now. And they created this monster, and they don't have it in them to withhold production. They just it's the nature of the beast. That's the reason I titled it "Nature of the Beast."
It's too big.
Toyota wants to be number one. Chevrolet wants to be number one. Honda wants to be number one, and they just crank those cars out if they can. If they have the supply of microchips, etc., they'll build too many cars again. And we'll be right back where we started.
They also know that there's a mad rush towards EVs, and no manufacturer is going to sit on lots and lots of gas cars that in 3 years nobody might want.
Right.
Everything they've built and everything they're planning to build has got to go, and they got to push them to dealers, and that's what's happening. And we know because we're here, we're in the middle of it. Got a text from Jonathan in Delray. He says he's talking about the comment about Agent Lightning. If a customer shows up even 1 minute before closing, that customer will be served the same care and courtesy as if it was midday. No exceptions. If that's not acceptable, close your business. And I think we are all,
a smart guy. I mean, it's shocking to me. That's the reason I'm sure this was a dealer. And a lot of, having been we are in the business. And let me tell you something, I'll empathize with my salespeople and my sales staff too.
It wasn't a dealer. The dealer wants you to take care of them.
Yeah. But, sales is hard. And you work a lot of hours, and a lot of it it's either panic, busy, or nothing to do. And to have to, at 9 o'clock at night, if you're open till 9, at 8:30, there's nobody in the dealership. Usually, most nights.
Right.
So everybody hates the idea. You want to go home and have dinner.
You're bored.
You want to take your wife out to a movie. People have things they want to do. And it's very tempting to lock that door and get out of there. And of course, I raise hell, or Stu raises hell, when that happens at our dealership, because we say we're open till 9 o'clock. And it's not easy for the people that work there when they're thinking about that pot roast in the oven. They're ready to get home and have something to eat. And next thing you know, the guy walks in and says, "Let me see what you got to sell," and it's going to be a long.
Let me kick some tires for an hour.
It's going to be a 2-hour affair. So I have
Sympathize.
empathy, but the customer's king. If you want to be success, you got to do whatever the customer wants you to do. If you don't care, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and hopefully the business establishment staffs accordingly. You don't need to have 20 salespeople at a half hour before closing.
Yeah.
You usually have 1 or 2, and that's and they rotate that. So this guy at the Porsche dealership, I think it was just a little cranky.
Yeah.
I got a text. Who's this from? I don't know. From Kyle. The thing that Tesla did better than anything is make themselves an appealing luxury brand that people want. Chevy doesn't have that, so the market for a $40,000 compact electric Chevy was very limited. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of cool. I've never understood why. I don't think of my Tesla Plaid as a luxury car, but it is. And but that's, I guess it's all about price.
Well, it is. And speaking of that, Negan has sent some information over on the new Lucid Sapphire. And I don't know if you heard about that one. It's the $250,000 super luxury car from Lucid, all electric. Unfortunately, for you, it will beat the Tesla Plaid, the Tesla Model S Plaid, in a race. I don't know by how much.
Yeah, no, I heard about that.
Negan actually sent some pictures. He's driving his old 2010 Ford Raptor by the Lucid plant right now. Well, when he sent the picture, and he sent some pictures of the manufacturing facility with a bunch of Lucid Emeralds parked out front, or Sapphires parked out front.
Because fortunately for Tesla, Lucid will probably be out of business in a few months. So.
Well, they're selling it for $250,000, so it's a limited market for that vehicle.
Interesting. Okay, folks, I see by the clock that we are going to go to the mystery shopping report, and as I said earlier, Agent Lightning did a fabulous job, and she went to Ed Morris Delray Toyota. It's really important that we hear from you what you think about the mystery shopping report, and you can vote. Your vote is very important. You can do so at 772-497-6530. And now back to the recovering car dealer.
Okay. Mystery shop of Ed Morris Delray Toyota. Speaking in the first person, if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived in the evening and noticed a salesman sitting outside as I walked into the dealership. Tried not to make eye contact with him, but he smiled real big, asked me if there was anything he could do to help me this evening. I said I was just checking out the hybrid Sequoia and pointed to the one parked right by the front door. He replied, "Okay, great. Would you like me to get the keys for you?" I replied, "Yes, as long as it's available." He started to walk away, but then turned around with his hand extended, introduced himself as Ernie. Shook my hand, said he'd be right back with the keys. As I say always about mystery shopping reports, we name names and people. There really is an Ernie, and there really is an Ed Morris Delray Toyota.
And we always get interesting names.
And that's and if we're lying, we're going to get sued about this, probably. Continuing.
Am I identifying myself as a Gen Xer if I picture for Ernie from Sesame Street as you're reading this report?
I forgot about that, yeah. I worked for the Maroney label. I looked for the Maroney label, but couldn't find it. Here we go again. Okay. Can't find the Maroney label. So I opened the passenger door and saw it, along with an addendum, the infamous addendum. They were both on the passenger seat. Both were laminated with plastic. So that's premeditated. And as we talked about last week...
It didn't fall off.
Yeah, right.
And become laminated on the way down to the seat.
Just magically fell in that machine.
Federal law says that you have to have the Maroney label affixed by the manufacturer when the car is built, and it must remain stuck to that windshield or window until the customer removes it when they buy it retail. That's the law. The penalty is $1,000 per offense.
It's death.
And it's I've never heard of anyone being penalized. So
that's probably why they're laminating it.
The problem, we had a caller earlier that says, I don't know why we need more federal laws. He's right. We don't need more federal laws. We need to enforce the ones we already got. So here we are, Ed Morris, Delray Toyota, violating the federal law, and if Ed wants to stab me in the back by suing me, he can do it, but you're going to lose because you're not going to lie, Ed. And it's actually Teddy, by the way. MSRP for the new 2023 Toyota Sequoia Platinum Hybrid was $80,331. MSRP, that's pretty hefty, $80,331. The addendum added $6,488 to the price for the Ed Morris safety package. Ed Morris has got your back. Or $6,488 for their safety package.
Safety package?
Which included...
what's in a safety package?
Here we go. This is what's worth $6,498. Wheel locks. and antiviral treatment. This is a carryover from COVID, but he's keeping the antiviral treatment. The addendum also disclosed a $999 dealer fee,
That's a positive thing.
which was not in the $6,488.
No, that's additional. They started doing this, I remember, back in the days of Scion, when everybody was posting like the one price, and they required them to put a dealer fee. Ed Morse started doing that, and it's been doing it for the last 20 years.
Okay, continuing the report here at Ed Morse Delray Toyota. As promised, was it? Oh, yeah, Ernie, yeah. Ernie returned just a few minutes and asked if I wanted to go on a longer test drive on Highway 95 or just locals, stating that if we stayed local, we wouldn't need to get a plate. Now, I can't quite figure that one out. I figured it out, but I mean...
if you're like within a block of the dealership, a cop is not going to pull you over. He knows that there's cars going on test drives.
So I said I'm not good going on 995 during rush hour, so off we went without a plate. Ernie went over all the safety features of the Sequoia while I drove and was quite knowledgeable. We drove down US 1 for a while and then headed back to the dealership. We pulled in. He asked me what I thought and how soon I was looking to buy the car. I said I really liked it a lot. I love my hybrid I have now. He didn't ask what I was driving. I was curious. So he just wanted to know if I was going to be trading in a car. I said no, I needed an additional car. I said one thing I don't like is a hefty markup. Ernie said they could work with me on that since they're approaching the end of the month and have quotas they need to meet. So right away, he agreed to haggle. I smiled and said, great, I'd like to see what it would cost me then. We headed back inside and noticed that they had the same identical Sequoia on the showroom floor, surrounded by big one-day sales event signs all around it.
That's a Toyota. That's a Toyota national thing right now.
Yeah, but the irony here is, there's a Sequoia sitting outside, identical one in the showroom. The one outside cost all the money. You're quoted all the money, but when you go inside, suddenly there's
no, that's not. It might have looked like that, but they're just dealership decorations.
We walked over to a table. Decorations, yeah, right.
Well, they are. It's a Toyota thing, and there's
the
not really
obvious
much to it.
intent was to make you think that there's big discounts.
Yeah.
We walked over to a table where Ernie pulled out the chair for me to have a seat, asked for my license and phone number. He then inquired if I was looking to lease or purchase. I said purchase. He excused himself to speak with his manager and returned a few minutes later with a worksheet and went over the figures, the infamous worksheet. They all use them. Top line labeled market value selling price was the MSRP, $80,331. I hate it that they use selling because a selling price is what you sell the car for, and this is not what they're going to sell the car for.
That's worse.
They added the Ed Morse safety package, which brought the total to $86,819. To the total purchase price, which, as I just said, is not the purchase price, they added $6,488. And to purchase it, you got to pay that. So I'm confusing myself. They added $291 in taxable fees, which are more junk fees, a $999 dealer service fee, junk fee, and inflated $789 in non-tax fees.
I suspect,
and that was puffed up.
Yeah, they puffed up a little bit.
That's puffed up. So they weren't really all non-tax fees.
Some were.
Bottom line, I'm out of breath here. The bottom line out the door price was $94,210.
And just keep in mind, sales tax and all in that walk up from selling to it was only $5,000. So that's all profit, mostly.
I asked about them working with me on the price, and he said, "Well, this car could actually be sold at auction for much more."
That is true.
That's why it's marked up so much. And there's some truth, not much, but car dealers can sell new cars now at auctions for over MSRP, depending on the make and model. It used to be almost commonplace when it was really intense, and there were virtually no cars available, but not so much anymore today. That's why it's marked up so much. He said, "This is a starting price. How soon are you wanting to buy?" I said, "Well, I'd like to finalize this tonight, but definitely not with that markup, plus the $999 dealer fee." He then asked what price I would buy at tonight. I replied, well, I'm not even wasting my husband's time because I already know the answer, so give me your best price, and then I'll decide from there. He asked if I have my own financing or if I'll be using theirs. I said, likely we'll go through your financing here. And it doesn't say this in the shopping report, but I'm sure his heart started to beat a little faster.
Skip the beat.
A little smile on his face, and I just made that up. But they want you to finance because they make more money financing sometimes than they do selling. Ernie excused himself again, returned a few minutes later after chit-chatting with the sales manager, sat right down, got to business saying, Ernie here, oh, this is a sales manager. Ernie tells me you're willing to buy now if we can remove the markup. This is really, really surprising when I read this. I said, well, I'll definitely have a serious discussion with my husband. He then said, okay, I'll take it off if you buy right now. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? I replied, will you put that in writing? He then took his pen out. This is a sales manager at Ed Morse Delray Toyota, and wrote minus $6,488. So they came down enormously. I just
Ernie went in there and said, Ernie went in there and said, "Hey, boss, I'm telling you right now, she's taking it home tonight. If you take that off, she's driving home tonight. I got one."
Yeah. I said, I'm going to step outside and try to reach my husband. Now she's worried about how am I going to get out of here because Agent Lightning had to be surprised too.
Yeah.
Ernie worked out with me.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just.
I mean,
wow, yeah, right.
Did Agent Lightning start to run toward her car?
She started to trot.
And I acted like I just saw the big one's sales even signs.
Sales and event. Big one sales event.
And then asked him about that. He smirked and said, we're a dealership. We always have big sales going on to attract customers. I laughed, said, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot by taking this deal if I could save you more money. He replied, I can always present any, boy, you got it, this guy was really willing to work.
I like this phrase. It must have been in
They
his
came down
repertoire.
$6,488, and he's still willing to come more. I mean, I wish Agent Lightning had stayed to see how far they would have gone.
Well, because these Sequoia hybrids aren't flying off the shelves. I mean, it's a very low production vehicle.
Anyway, I thanked him as Agent Lightning and then walked the other way to leave. But really, that was an exciting.
Very brave.
And the funny thing is, we had a call right after the show started about Ed Morse Delray Toyota, and Stu says, it's a coincidence that we happened to shop Ed Morse Delray Toyota. We did not.
The caller was talking about their service department, bad experience, and so we hit him with the 1-2 today. Wasn't planned.
So there we have it. And just for your information, Toyotas are in better supply now than most cars, and they have nationally. They have like almost a 60-day supply, 59-day supply, and some dealers don't, some dealers do. So you're better off with Toyota than you were a year ago for sure.
To get your votes in, you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're waiting to hear from all of you. It's very important that you do vote and let us know how you feel about the mystery shopping report from Ed Morse Delray Toyota.
Okay, we have some we have some grades coming in. I'll give Ed Morse, who sent this in? I got no name. Oh, it's from Kyle. I'll give Ed Morse an F+ for getting rid of the $3.99 nitrogen fee. Bob says 4 years ago it would have been an F, but in today's world it's a C because unfortunately dealers have become really greedy. You know, I was thinking about giving them credit for disclosing the dealer fee on the addendum label because at least, you know, the customers knew they had it coming. If you open up the door and look on the passenger seat and actually find them an only label. So I don't really know what the point is. I think it's convenience for the dealership to do that. I don't know if it's really to hide it because it's there, they see it.
The Florida Automobile Dealers Association recommends you put your dealer fee on the addendum label.
Yeah. So I got another question here. I got it from Steve. I got a C from Steve. Frank says, enjoy your mystery shopping report each week. F, keep up the great work. I have a question here. What's the invoice on that $80,000 Tundra? That's a great question. There's a lot of markup. I'm going to say there's probably about $3,500 to $4,000 in markup without the a couple of $1,000s, a few $1,000s in holdback. So I'd say if they sold it just at MSRP, it's probably a $7,000 or $8,000 deal. Maybe $9,000 with the addendum. Obviously, they get a lot more. I'm going to give them lower than a C. I don't think that. I think that goes. I'm going to give them a C minus.
Right. Okay. Here on the YouTube channels, we've got Tom Steckel says F, worthless package plus fake taxable fees plus dealer fees. I'd have asked him if we could take a test drive up to Lake Park. Tim Gilliland, fees equals F, F, F. Cliff Manthe redacted his. Let's see if we give him a moment, see if he comes back. Brian Sedlatko, I was going to give Ed Morse an F. However, after the negotiation, they deserve a C. Johnny Z. Fradley, ... is Ed Morse code for F. That's good. I don't know, because a lot of things I don't like with the Monroney being down on the seat, all this, the games they're playing there, but the fact that they were willing to work on that price immediately, I'm going to say a C minus, because I think if you're going in there, you're prepared to buy, and you've got your weapons lined up, I think you can get a pretty decent deal.
Yeah. Okay. Nancy?
Bad news. Let me tell you. I read this 3 times.
Hit him hard, Mama.
Pardon me?
I said hit him hard.
Hit him hard, Mama. Okay. I just can't believe any of this. You know, week in, week out, and every once in a while, it just knocks you off your chair. And I certainly don't know what a antiviral treatment or whatever the hell they called it, and please stay away from the big one sales event. I give the mystery shop of Ed Morse Toyota in Delray an F.
Dun, dun.
I'm going to give them a C, because I think that's very average, especially for South Florida. And as a matter of fact, if you're a haggler and a negotiator, and you don't mind going through all that Agent Lightning went through, you can probably negotiate a pretty good price at Ed Morse. They come down pretty quick.
Because you know that Ernie and his sales manager are weak as circus lemonade, because they come right down.
It's old school, traditional haggle hassle,
Sorry.
and that is average, and that's the problem. So yeah, I'm going to give them a C, and you say I would recommend you go down there if you're a good negotiator.
Got a quick note here from John Strine that I wanted to bring this one out. He says, the big 3 automakers have an oversupply of product, but you claim Toyota is not limiting production on purpose. Sorry, not buying it. I waited for over a year for my Toyota from your dealership and finally gave up and bought a Honda.
That must mean that they're holding back on production then.
Toyota's losing market share with this strategy. I'm just saying it is his opinion, but
everybody's entitled to
I'm just saying that having been in the business 50 years and knowing the manufacturers quite well, they don't ever hold back on production.
It's based on more than that. It's not just what we know.
Okay,
what's going
folks,
on right now.
We have about 2 minutes left. That gives me time to mention Earl's Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. Don't forget, you go to Amazon, or you can go to Earl's book, and you can purchase this book, and it is timeless. $19.99 for the book. All proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. Speaking of Big Dog Ranch, you can go to www.bdrr.org, and you can take a look at all the dogs that are up for adoption, and we want to send out a special hello to Solly and everyone out there. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to Earl Stewart on Cars. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here next week, Saturday morning, 8 a.m.